Spanning only 2 years, the Mexican-American War can be said to have had the most impact on the shape of America itself, resulting in the acquisition of what is now the American Southwest. It opened up countless of opportunities for Americans, allowing access to now the Pacific Ocean and to what was mostly unpopulated, unadventured land that could be developed and explored. Today, using Christensen's and Singletary's books on the Mexican-American War, I hope to give an accurate summary of the origins, development, and results of this influential war. In 1821, Mexico declared its independence from Spain. This was a great victory, one Americans could relate to, having declared their own independence from Britain less than 50 years beforehand. However, the country of Mexico was huge, and its capital so off-center that the government began to lose control of its outer territories, especially Texas. Texas revolted against Mexico, and after a lengthy war and the Treaty of Alaska in 1836, Texas declared its independence. Soon after this, Texas began to deliberate over the wisdom of annexing itself to the United States. This would bring many benefits to Texas, but it would also mean that they would lose their hard-earned independence. But it would seem that Mexico had not yet given up on Texas, denying the existence of its independence, and declaring that an attempt to annex Texas to the Union would be equivalent to a declaration of war. But this threat was unprecedented, and Texas had been recognized as its own independent country and welcomed into the family of nations. Despite threats from Mexico, Texas applied for the statehood, and in 1845 was welcomed into the Union as a slave state. Immediately after this, President James K. Polk prepared the U.S. Armed Forces for imminent hostilities from Mexico. He attempted many negotiations with Mexico, generously offering monetary compensation in exchange for peace, but was denied. He sent envoys to Mexico with full powers and authorities to negotiate a peaceful solution, including powers to adjust the Texas boundary itself. But the envoys were denied audience with the Mexican government. While the country was prepared for an attack from Mexico, there was doubt in the back of their heads that Mexico would dare to attempt a war against such a powerful country as the United States. It simply would not be wise for such a new country whose government was so weak to attack such a strong country as the United States. The United States also felt a bit of incredulity at the actions of Mexico, seeing no reason why they should consult another country with the annexation of what was universally recognized as an independent country. Polk sent his troops with General Zachary Taylor towards the Rio Grande, which according to the Treaty of Alaska was the rightful border of Texas. Waiting for them were Mexican troops, who declared that an approach to the Rio Grande would be considered an act of open hostility. But whether Mexico liked it or not, this was American land they had no claim to. Mexican troops attacked Taylor's men, killing several of them, and following this attack, Polk sent a war message to Congress, saying that Mexico had, quote, shed American blood on American soil. Soon both houses of Congress approved the war bill, making the war official. Polk strategically invaded the provinces of California and New Mexico, specifically because they were mostly unpopulated and could be easily overcome, thus avoiding the unnecessary loss of life. He was able to thus occupy a vast majority of Mexico in just 2 years' time. And in 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was approved by both Mexico and the United States. It ceded what was at the time considered to be the provinces of California and New Mexico to the United States, and confirmed the American claim to Texas along the Rio Grande line in exchange for a payment of $15 million to Mexico. Today, I have done my best to give a simple description of the origins, development, and the outcome of the Mexican-American War. As Americans, it is important to study and learn from our history in order to avoid past mistakes. Our past is directly correlated to our future. It is only through this effort that we can maintain our freedom and continue to pursue happiness and peace.